everyone, Mother Mary Lynn here. Happy November. Just coming out of our 3 holy days of All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, and All Souls Day. And I wanted to come to you this week with a little video message about stewardship. So you might know that this past Sunday we launched our fall stewardship campaign. So we're inviting everyone in our parish to pray about and consider how they might give back to St. Andrew's in 2023. There's so many ways that people give so much already to St. Andrew's, and I first want to say thank you to everyone who gives in so many ways. If you are maybe new to St. Andrew's or have never made a pledge to a church before, I wanted to just talk a little bit about what that word means, because we're going to talk about that a lot. And I'm coming to you from my bedroom. I used to do services from here during COVID. So anyway, this word pledge, we're going to ask, we print pledge cards, so little cardstock pieces of paper where you can put your information and prayerfully consider how you can give back to St. Andrew's in 2023. And St. Andrew's is financially supported primarily through donations, specifically recurring donations from our members, which is so incredible and humbling to me to be part of the team that stewards those resources for ministry, for using those resources to maintain our beautiful campus that's a sanctuary for so many ministries that are transforming for me and for people in our community and in our neighborhood, our preschool, our hunger supper ministry, our formation activities, children, family ministry. There's just so much happening in this vibrant community. It's all because of really, donations from our community. So I'm grateful for that. And we're going to ask folks to make a pledge. So I wanted to just reflect on that word pledge. I guess for me first, I think of like the Pledge of Allegiance. So there's something about like loyalty maybe, or a promise inherent in that word pledge. If you haven't ever made a pledge before to a church, my bangs are bugging me, sorry. I'm just gonna keep going with this video though. It's a promise to kind of consider how you plan to financially support the church in the next year. So as we're right now working on our budget for next year, it's really helpful to us to know, what we can budget for our ministries. What's our pledge income going to be, basically. And regular monthly giving is truly so sustaining to our community. So if you are able to pledge a regular donation of even $10 a month, like the regularity of it is really powerful and really transformative for our community. So I encourage you to think about that. But as I've been thinking about this term pledge, the Sunday gospel this past Sunday on October 30th was about Zacchaeus, who I preached about, and you can go to our podcast and listen to the sermon if you want. Zacchaeus, we learn, is short of many things. One thing he is that he's short, so I like to call him the patron saint of short people. But he's also a tax collector, and he climbs up in a tree to see Jesus to get a better look. Jesus invites him down and says, "Zacchaeus, I'm going to come eat at your house today." Everyone in the crowd is scandalized because Zacchaeus is a known sinner, a tax collector, someone who took more money than was necessary for the government to keep for himself. But in that moment when the crowd is sort of incredulous that Jesus, a rabbi, would want to eat with Zacchaeus, this sinner, Zacchaeus stood there and said, "Look, half of my possessions, God, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much." And then Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house." That's a pledge. Zacchaeus made a pledge in that moment. He encountered Jesus, this kind of mystical encounter where Jesus sort of sees him from afar, knows his name, invites him down out of the tree back into community. And Zacchaeus, in meeting Jesus, is transformed and realizes that he's hurt people and that the money he has the ability to make justice happen and to make healing happen, that money is powerful and has this power and ability when we spread it and let it flow and let it move, to transform communities, transform people's lives. So I love that in this gospel reading, I didn't really talk about this in my sermon, which is why I'm making a little video, which is now getting too long, but Zacchaeus makes a pledge. So I encourage you to read this. It's in Luke chapter 19, at the beginning of that chapter. Consider how you have met Jesus. How have you encountered Jesus or the Christ? Or how have you encountered love at St. Andrew's? And maybe it's through feeling welcomed, through a sense of belonging, through an encounter with God in prayer. Whatever that encounter might be, I invite you to wonder in prayer about what your response might be. That might be a pledge. And it could be a pledge to give financially to St. Andrews in 2023. It could be a pledge of another kind, a pledge to be faithful to a certain kind of prayer practice or something like that. But I'm just struck this week that as we're kicking off our stewardship season, talking about pledges, asking all of us to consider, what will we pledge for this community in 2023? What will we put our name behind? What will we promise? What will we faithfully aspire to do? We have this model of Zacchaeus he's a newcomer to this community. In a way, he's been there forever, I guess, but he's kind of just newly reintegrating himself into the community. And he says, I will give my possessions to the poor. I will give back what I've taken unfairly. What an inspiring person and saint to consider for all of us as we consider what our pledge might be for 2023. So thank you for listening to my sermonette about Zacchaeus and his pledge. And thank you for your generosity.